Hi, I'm Streaky from Streaky.com. Today is Friday, so that means it is Q&A day. Hashtag #AskStreaky. I'm here to answer your questions, so let's go. Today is Black Friday, so I like black, so why not give you a massive discount off mastering? Below is a code for you to use for Black Friday. You get 30% off mastering with me, so your music can go through these beautiful speakers in this lovely controlled room and have the experience of me making your music sound insanely good. If you want to take advantage of that, below is the code, 30% off. That is for mastering that's going to happen within the next, let's say for November. Yeah, for the next week, you can use that code and you've got to have your stuff mastered by the end of November before you start ordering mastering from a record label and using the code in March. So, on with the Q&A. Today's first one is from Can the Loop, and he says, Streaky, may I ask what is the right amount of very bottom end, say 40 to 60 hertz, coming out of the NS10s on a very low volume, say 50 dB, so when he's monitoring quietly. When I do it clearly noticeable, it comes out actually too much on headphones or earbuds, and it's barely noticeable on the NS10s. I can hear it when I concentrate on it, and so other parts of the tracks become more clear and defined. Anyway, I'm sure, unfortunately, I can't hear it on a big club system, which appears to be my main target. Okay, so I think what Can the Loop is getting at is a really great way to mix, which a lot of people mixed, is super low level. It's a very great way to hear how much things are popping out the mix. So for example, on a set of NS10s, they're very much dealing with the mids and sort of lower mids. If you're not going to get a lot less than say 50 or 40 hertz, depending on the amp you're using, you can really hear what's peaking and what isn't peaking when you're at a super low volume, like really low. Great way to mix. Great way I'd use that as well, just if I've got to rebalance someone's vocal for them, because the vocal should really stand out. So he's saying that he can't really hear the bass on the NS10s, but if you're going for a club thing that you are going for Can the Loop, then the subs and things that are happening at 20, 30, 40, they're the things that are going to really replay on these speakers, for example. I can hear that information really well. Obviously on a big system you're going to hear it, and also on headphones you're going to hear it, but on NS10s you're not going to hear it because there literally aren't the frequencies there. They've stripped them away, so you may hear the higher register of the bass, but you won't hear the kind of low subby stuff. And the low subby stuff, even if it's like 60 hertz and below, you're not really going to be able to judge the level of the subs and the kicks and things, you know, stuff that's really going on. And you know, a lot of dance music and things for the last 10, 15, 20 years have had a lot of subs going on. So NS10s aren't great for that kind of music in general, I wouldn't say. If you're just trying to get your mids right, you know, stuff that in say a normal car stereo, then you can do it on NS10s, but you're going to need some speakers that really you can hear the low end. And when I have these on really low, I can still hear the subs. But I would suggest if you have only got NS10s, I'm guessing you haven't only got NS10s, but if you have only got NS10s, get yourself a subwoofer so you can kick that in occasionally. You can then go back in and zero in on the kind of mids and the kind of, you know, that information is really important. That's the stuff that is making a track sound good. But you're going to need to have a sub bass to really get that feel and get that tightness and hear what's going on. But also that incorporates then making sure your room's okay so that it's not the room that's adding the sound and it's just the sound coming from the speakers. I would definitely recommend trying to get used to balancing your mix in some headphones if you haven't got the speakers that can carry it. Failing that, just try and get some better speakers that are sort of three ways or something so that they've got a separate cone that's handling those lower frequencies so you can hear what's going on. When you concentrate on certain sounds, of course they're going to start popping out. I don't listen like that. I'm a mastering engineer, so I'm listening across the whole frequency band. I'm not listening to little tiny instruments because that's just confusing. I know that when I do stem mastering and I have to rebalance stuff, listening to those little sections, very confusing to, you know, lift one, you'll lift the other and lift the other, and where are you? So yeah, keep it low and just try and get full range system to be able to do that properly. I hope that helps in some way, but it should translate better if you have got speakers that can replay the frequencies and also you've got the room that can handle the replaying. But if your room is just very minimal and small, just make sure you are at low levels, because the louder you go, the more the room's going to get involved, and then the more the bass is going to build up and things, and then you're getting really cloudy speakers, and then you're kind of defeating the object of having speakers. So, you know, on and on it goes. But yeah, I hope you've got something out of that anyway. So question number 2 is from a regular in the comments, because I see his comments a lot and answer him fairly. So Mark Doonan, I hope I've said your name right, Mark. I appreciate your comments. Thanks for keeping it up. You've asked, hey Streaky, you've done some DACs. Have you ever thought about ADCs. What ADCs do I use? So I've done the kind of in. Now what am I doing on the coming out of my analog equipment going to digital? So I'm using at the moment a Prism Lyra. Always have liked Prism stuff. I've got it clocked with a Black Lion clock. That's giving me a really nice A to D on the way in. I really like the sound of that. But literally I've had this for about a month. Lavery sent it over. It's a Lavery Gold. They're about £9,000. They're mental cash. But apparently they're amazing. This goes like massively into the red, so you can really push into your A to Ds. So I will be reviewing this in the coming weeks. I just haven't had the chance to plug it in and really let loose on it. So until I've done that, I don't really want to review it and give a full, I wouldn't be doing Lavery any justice by just plugging it in once and listening. So that's coming up. I think I mentioned before that I've also got, because I am actually checking out A to Ds, I've got a Dangerous one down here too. I can't pull it out because it's racked in. They sent me that to listen to, and I'm hopefully getting the head as well, the Crane Song head. I will do kind of some reviews of those coming up. So, I'm looking for a new A to D, and that's, this kind of thing. It's like, I want to go high end with it so that it's, really clean and dedicated. So I'm using the Lyra. I'm more than happy with the Lyra, to be totally honest. It sounds great, but I'll shoot it out against the others and see. So yeah, that'll be coming up. Look out for those in the coming weeks. Question number 3 is from Eufrol. It's a personal question. This isn't a music thing. Are you married? Not directly related, but it is related. So yeah, I am married and I've got 2 sons, Henry and Rufus. So they are 12 and 9. Don't even remember their ages. Some dad. So next one is from Think Before You Post. Good advice there. Hey Streaky, because your MEA 2 review, I went ahead and bought the thing. Good lad, you haven't done bad there. They're brilliant EQs. That's a Masalek EQ for any of the uneducated out there. Would you also recommend I buy an MLA 4? Yes. Or could plugins do the job? Yes. I also bought a Buzz Res EQ. Oh, someone with a bit of cash. I also bought a Buzz ME custom mod, as I couldn't choose between the two, so I decided to get both. All right, for some. Obviously, Think Before You Post's doing something right in life, isn't he? Your review pushed me over the top for its famous mids. Okay, all Masalek gear is brilliant. There's not one piece of Masalek gear that's rubbish, so you cannot go wrong. Leif Masses lives literally around the corner from here. Love his stuff. Unfortunately, at the moment, I haven't got any, but hopefully I'll get some soon. I've used it extensively throughout my career. If you look at Metropolis videos, I've got like 15 of them or whatever. It's like mental at Metropolis. But he actually built them for Metropolis originally, and then from Metropolis, everyone else bought them. So that kind of started him off. Would I recommend you buy an MLA2? Yeah, like I just said, MLA4 is a 3-band multi-band compressor, put your teeth in, and it's also an expander. That's the new sort of thing. So it was an MLA3 with just when it was compressor, and now it's an expander. He's added a 4. So I would say yes, definitely. Can plugins do the same thing? Of course they can. This is a analog versus digital scenario. So if you're going out the box, I mean, it's an amazing sounding bit of kit, the Masalek box. Bass you can get on it is so tight. It also works as a kind of 3-band EQ as well, like a dynamic EQ. So it works really well from that, which sounds really lush and nice, and it's very clean. You can use it as a de-esser. You can also couple all the bands, and in fact, just watch the review of it up here. But you make it into a stereo compressor, so it's good value for what it is. I used it a lot. I love it. Going on to plugins, plugins. I love multiband plugins because you've got more you can do more with them. Q factors, and you can change things. For something like Leif's box is very much, he's decided on these are the curves. This is the sound. This is what I want to produce for this sounding bit of equipment, and obviously he knows what he's doing, so that is why it sounds and his equipment sells by the bucket load. But I think you can do more with a plugin like the Fab Filter multi-band. You can do a lot more with it. Does it sound as good? Probably not, but it's different. You might as well have both. If you can have both, you might as well have both. It sounds like you can have whatever you want, so you might as well have both. I would definitely buy it. I would then use the multi-band in the box for doing other stuff in the box. I'm hybrid, so I always do a bit of both, and it just depends on the track, depends what the track needs. Just buying a bit of equipment's not going to suddenly make you a better engineer, but it's going to help you have the tools to be able to try different things. I don't think anything can do the same as the Masalek because it is what it is, but yeah, of course, a plug-in is a few £100 and you may as well have it anyway and then just use it for whatever you need. So I don't know if that's even explained what I'm talking about, but hopefully you've got the kind of picture. You get a much more 3D sound with Leif's box. than you do with any plugin that I've used, Multiband. It's just got this kind of where you kind of go, wow, everything, the stereo image has really like got depth. And FabFilter doesn't do that, but FabFilter is very good in doing what it does of sort of tightening or, you know, rogue frequencies or maybe a bit of de-essing or whatever you want to do with it. So it's kind of more functional than Leif's, where Leif's actually really adds some vibe. So question number 4, this is the last question. Sorry, I've been going on the last answers. This is from JJ Jones, likes the J's. I think you can achieve the same effect for less. Maybe I'm just cheap. He's talking about my video from last week, which I'll link here, which was where I've got on these speakers now the ISO acoustic feet. So they are for a pack of 8, which I need for 2 lots of speakers, 4 on each one. Then they are about £1,200 for the whole lot. So not cheap. So people are obviously in the comments saying, what can you get that's cheaper and blah, blah. So what I'm going to do a kind of part 2 of that, because I'm going to take the feet off of the speakers. People are saying that it's a height thing. When I did that video, I kept the camera mic, which is what recorded the clips you can hear, exactly the same height. The speakers had spikes on them to start with, which were exactly the same height as these. So the speakers didn't move at all, but people don't believe me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another video where I'm going to measure these first as they are in the room. Then I'm going to cut some tennis balls in half and put the tennis balls underneath. I don't think we can get any cheaper than tennis balls. Cut those in half, put those underneath, and then see if we can hear the difference. Now, let me explain the isoacoustic theory and the reason why they are kind of better than a lot of other isolators out there. I don't work for them. I'm not getting paid for this. They haven't given me those for free. Those are going back, unfortunately. They should give them to me for free, the amount I talk about them to people, but there you go. That's a whole nother video. Isoacoustic stuff, you have to have their name at the front, and that's not just for promo reasons, because the way it works is it moves backwards and forwards. It doesn't move all over the place. If you've got them on spikes, basically the spikes are on the ground and they're still kind of part of the room. Great way of showing that was that we got office upstairs as well, and up there, if we didn't have the isoacoustics on, the bass, you can feel the bass on the building. It's moving the building. So what that's doing in effect is if that's moving the building, that means it's moving the floor in here, which means the speakers are going like this, which is adding smear and noise to the speakers because they're not just solid and straight on. Where the isoacoustics, they kind of lift the speaker, so they're moving forward. So as the cones are triggered, they're kind of bouncing back, if you get what I mean. So what they're doing is they're isolated, literally not on the floor at all. They're pushed into these like hard suctions, and then the speaker's moving, but it's not moving the rest of the room. So the rest of the room isn't holding the speaker back, which for me then makes the speakers sound clearer, and it's making them play how they should play because they're not being held by the room. So that kind of resonance that you get coming from the room translates through the speakers, where that's why I think these are the stereo image and everything and the high end, and they sound like they're brighter, but they're not, but they sound like they're brighter. And on the next video, I will do a graph so you can see that too. We can see what's happened to the bass or whatever, see what's going on. If you've got anything else you'd like me to test on that video, because I really want to prove what I'm hearing in the room, and just by putting them on similar kind of bases, and I'll measure them and all this stuff so you can see exactly what's going on. And then you'll see that, okay, I mean, I might be wrong. Who knows? I don't think I am, but I might be wrong. And so it'll be interesting to see from my point of view. You know, will the tennis balls make them go like this and then suddenly they sound the same? I hope so. We'll all save loads of cash and we'll just buy a load of tennis balls. But the theory of going backwards and forwards makes more sense to me than just having some kind of random tennis ball on the bottom. But we will see. We will find out. And JJ Jones, you might be being cheap, but you might be being right. So let's find out. I'll do that probably next week. Why not? Just so that we can measure it and get that kind of reading. And then you can see whether those kind of isolations are worth it for your room or whether you should just buy yourself a set of tennis balls. Okay, so that's it. Don't forget the Black Friday deal from the start of the video. Thanks for watching this far. Remember to subscribe. I'm here every day talking about audio equipment, room correction, room sound, acoustics, anything to do with audio. I'm here. And if you want me to review anything, if you've got any questions, then hashtag #AskStreaky below or on Twitter. And I'm more than happy every Friday to answer your questions. Till next time, have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye.